What is up, my friends? This is the first episode, the pilot, the not so great episode, right? We'll look back at this episode and be like, my goodness, how far did they come with this? But let's talk about what we want to talk about here today, and that's a variety of things, right? So, this is the pilot episode. I do have a more first episode planned, like a very good one, dealing with a lot of things in our society right now that we're seeing. And don't worry, I'm not gonna really get like newsy wise, like real life things, but more like entertainment stuff. That's what we're doing here to discuss. But I think for this first pilot episode, just to really see how I want to make this podcast feel and get some input, I'm gonna talk about a little bit of older news, and that's gonna be the Eternals. So I think the podcast episode length is going to be something that I'm going to struggle with, right? Because I'm not sure. I listen to different podcasts and all of that, and they can range. But in my opinion, I think a pretty good one might be a good 15-minute one to 30 minutes. But I do understand some people want something a little longer than that. So I'm going to very much so try to see what I can get in there. Like a bit of a sweet like range. I don't think I would do an hour unless I had like a guest or something or a co-host, because I feel like an hour of just me rambling by myself might not sound that great, right? So we're definitely not going to be going for an hour here. I think for starting off, I think 15 minutes is good. I think 15 minutes is good. Yeah, so we'll definitely figure that out. I don't have a specific title for this yet, but I do have one in mind. I will be uploading this on my YouTube channel as well. Also, wherever you're listening to me here, I would gladly appreciate you follow me as well, whether that's if we're on Apple or anything like that. Really appreciate that. But let's get into it. So nobody's sponsoring this yet. If you want to sponsor, hey, get to me. But yeah, let's just get into this. I want to talk about the Eternals because I am so flabbergasted at how the Eternals are ranked lower than Thor: The Dark World. That's what really got me going with this, like wanting to talk about this. Once I saw that it was rated lower than that, I mean, come on. We can all agree that Thor: The Dark World is just something that was just, what the fuck was that? But no, I saw Eternals and I was very much so like, what are the critics and everybody talking about who is bad mouthing this movie talking about? Now I know we're all like I know people have their opinions and they are free to have those opinions, but I'm free to also say bullshit on things that some people have said. And so I think one of the big things that I've seen on social media and on Rotten Tomatoes, and yes, I know how Rotten Tomatoes works. We don't gotta discuss that. It is a broken system, and we will talk about that another day. But no, Eternals does not deserve a 47%. I would definitely say it's a high B, close to an A. I definitely put it on my top 5 MCU films. And I don't see the whole problem that a lot of these critics and people on social media had with it. I thought it was done great. I thought that the storytelling was beautiful. I thought that the characters were very much so developed the way they should be. At the end of the day, this is a Cersei movie, and that's exactly what we got. I thought that the other characters were fleshed out as much as they can be with a big ensemble. And I never saw any problem with switching from the past to the present and being confused about it. I think it was very much so made clear. Were there things that I think were a little, yeah, I do believe that some of the characters might have been a little underrepresented, but I very much so got that from Endgame and Infinity War and Avengers and any ensemble movie, because it's just a given. Unless you're giving us like a 5-hour or 8-hour cut, I don't think all of the characters are going to get as much representation as the other ones. And of course, there are always going to be secondary characters and primary characters for us to focus. So it was a little bit of a nitpick when people were saying that. Also, the length of this movie wasn't an issue with me. I think that to tell a story on this like level, that was very much so appropriate, and it didn't feel like it was dragging. Would I have preferred a show instead? Yes, but then again, I love seeing The fight scenes on the big screen, I think that they were very much so incredible. I think the sound design as well for these scenes was beautiful, and you could really feel each blow, which was very honestly refreshing for me to see. I think for the most part, a lot of the times, action movies and superhero movies, their sound isn't very much so taken so like with so much intensity that it sometimes just feels dull watching an action scene where the punches don't really hit like that. So I was excited to see that. So I just went on a little rant right there about what I thought about the film and what I liked, and that was just some of the things that I saw some people that were not fans of it like that. And I thought that that's something that we definitely had to discuss, because I think a lot of these people were very much so expecting something else, talking about other movies, comparing it too much. I feel like there is a divide and sort of unity that comes with people that were mad at Zhao making a superhero film and people that were mad about the MCU going in a completely different direction. And those voices united and gave us the score we got. Now, I do believe that the MCU had to change directions at some point. I'm not gonna lie, I think that after Endgame, it was very much so time, because up until that point, it was starting to feel a bit of fatigue, the superhero genre, especially with the MCU. And I think that once they were able to tell their full story with Thanos, it was like, yeah, we laid all the groundwork now. Now I think it's time for us to try different things, because I feel in that whole arc, what definitely felt like a breath of fresh air was a couple of movies such as Winter Soldier, also movies such as Guardians of the Galaxy. But other than that, the first couple of movies that came pretty much felt like cup. I don't know what I'm thinking about. Pretty much felt like copy and paste. You had the whole like superhero journey and everything with Thor, Captain America, then Iron Man, and it just felt very cookie cutter. Then came the Guardians of the Galaxy and pretty much turned it on its head. And then I think Captain America, the Winter Soldier, was very much so our introduction into what could be the superhero genre, where that one was still dealing with superheroes but felt more like a spy thriller type of movie than a superhero movie. And I think that's what definitely started to save the MCU at a point, but the first couple of years were kind of like the same. And so with this new movie here, I really dug that it felt different than anything we've gotten before. And I think that they really did a great job at balancing a superhero film with an epic that also was posing a lot of philosophical questions to us as the audience. So I don't know. I don't know why it got such a low score on Rotten Tomatoes. I believe that there is definitely something to do with change, and I think in years to come it will be looked upon in a different light. But for the most part, I think that score should at least be double or close to double, if not. But at 47%, I just don't see how it got that, to be honest. So let me know your thoughts, your opinions on the Eternals. Am I scoring it too high? Am I just loving it too much? Or what do you think? Do you think that the critics got it wrong, or do I get it wrong? I'm interested to know your opinion down below. But pretty much that's going to be it for me to talk about here. I do want to talk also about Spider-Man fan expectations. I've already made a video on it, but in an effort to make this podcast feel a little longer, I do want to talk about that as well. So I'll give a quick 3-minute, 4-minute rant, I guess, is what it is. But you can definitely check out my video as well. Maybe I already talked about that over there. And or if you haven't seen that video, you could just listen to this here. But we do have the Spider-Man trailer coming out later today, which is exciting. Don't get me wrong, but I think that the fan expectations are getting a little bit out of hand, to be honest, and especially what people are expecting to see in these upcoming trailers is a little crazy, in my opinion. But I mean, I'm just gonna say it. I do believe, and by the way, spoilers ahead, but I mean, you would already know I'm talking about spoilers, right? Is that I do believe that Toby and Andrew will be in this movie, but not to the extent that people are making it seem to be. They are really making it seem like they are going to be on some big adventure with Tom from the beginning all the way to the end, and we're going to be getting a ton of story and all of this from them. Whereas I think that what we're going to see is them in maybe one scene that's like a 10-minute tops. I don't expect to see them more than that. I still believe this is a Tom movie, and it will also be a Doctor Strange movie, and just maybe a quick cameo from Toby and Andrew. Now, do I believe that the villains such as Doc Ock and Green Goblin will get the same treatment? No, especially Doc Ock. I think this is going to center a lot around him. I think Green Goblin has a bit more screen time than Toby and Andrew, but still not quite the same as Doc Ock. And that's what I mean. I think that a lot of these fans are expecting these characters to be throughout the whole film, whereas I see all of this happening in the last third of the film, and the other 2/3 pretty much revolving around Peter Parker and his identity being revealed and dealing with all of that, as well as a foe. And so I think that this is all just one culmination for the last act, and it could definitely feel like a race to the end, which is something I'm not hoping happens, but I'm definitely feeling that that's the way it is, especially with a jam-packed movie. But we'll definitely see how that plays out. What are your thoughts on this? What do you think we're going to see in the trailer? I don't think we see Toby and Andrew at the same time. I think for the most part, we'll just probably get maybe Toby's voice or a quick glimpse at Peter, Tom Holland, of course, seeing these characters come to his rescue and maybe a silhouette or something. But I feel like they really want to save it for the movie, especially considering that I don't think they have that much of a cameo as people are expecting. And it's just, well, I meant a role, but it's more of a cameo. That's just my thoughts, my opinions. But hey, I'm just another guy on the internet. Let me know your thoughts below about what you think, what you expect to see in the new trailer. What do you think about their role in this movie? Do you think it's a lot smaller than people are making it seem to be? Or do you think that people are right on the money and it's going to be a Spider-Man like fest? Let me know down below. Anyways, that is my first podcast. I don't know if I'm going to be changing how long it is. I will have more than one subject for sure, but I just wanted to test this out first and see what people think about it. And if y'all hate the podcast, I'm not doing the podcast probably. I'll stick to the videos, but let me know your thoughts below. I just want to make longer format because I talk a lot. I want to talk a lot, and I feel like I don't want to make such long videos, so I think making it a podcast is the best route. But let me know your thoughts. Anyways, as always, that is going to do it for me. If you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel and you're listening to it on my YouTube channel, definitely subscribe. We are on the road to 20,000 subscribers. We are so close. And as always, that is going to do it for me. If you haven't already also checked out the video on the left, if you're on YouTube, check it out. If you're anywhere else listening to me, follow me there. Go to my YouTube channel as well, and definitely check it out. You can find it by looking up Nerd Round, and you should definitely see me. But as always, that's going to do it for me. I'll see all of you next time. Stay safe, stay positive.